Follow breaking news. The report is out on what went wrong with the potholes on Interstate 264.
Exactly 1 month ago today, we broke into programming to report a major problem on 264 in Norfolk. Dozens of drivers getting flat tires after a heavy rainfall. Since then, VDOT has been under the microscope. Its district manager quit. Its contractors have come under question. And every pothole that has opened since then came under scrutiny. Less than 2 hours ago, the internal report was released about how VDOT handles work in Southside Hampton roads. And 10 of your side's Andy Fox, who has covered the problem since that first day, has it. Andy, you also have some answers we can only get on 10.
Yeah, there's a story only on 10 because we have Aubrey Lane. Aubrey Lane is the member on the Commonwealth Transportation Board. We had him at the start of the show. We went back, we looked at the report. We've come up with some more things that we'd like to talk about, and also a new message from the governor about the report. On page 2 of this internal report, permanent repairs to potholes, pavement failure are to be complete within 30 days. But it indicated that even these incidents on February 8th and 9th were still marked not complete by February 14th. Well, and this was Armageddon of the potholes, and they still weren't replacing them.
Well, again, I commend the commissioner for putting everything out there. Obviously, the situation is unacceptable, and I think you'll go on in the report and see where there are procedures now he's put in place to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Right, but that is disappointing right here. Even after you have been sending in your messages, and for the folks at home, you've been a victim of potholes.
Well, I think a lot of residents in Hampton Roads have been, yes, there is the performance on the road by the contractor and VDOT was just unacceptable, as the commissioner has said.
And as we were going over this, we are seeing that, according to the people investigated by the chief engineer of VDOT, that there is no evidence that any permanent replacement of the pothole areas have been done in 4 to 5 years as preventive maintenance.
And that goes back to the contract and the contractor's performance and the oversight by VDOT, which again, the commissioner has pointed out in here was unacceptable.
And again, I'm asking you about the TME contract. You're going to get this report and more on March 20th from Greg Worley. Have you lost faith in TME?
I have.
That they should just go away?
I have lost the faith in their performance on this contract. As identified in these recommendations. I have not, what I do have a lot of faith in is the commissioner and his staff to give us a recommendation at the CTB, how they believe we should go forward in terms of making sure this does not happen again.
Right, and because when you're saying that you have lost confidence in TME on this contract, what is the process then we get someone else, because this contract is up in May?
At the last CTB meeting, the CTB voted to rescind their approval for the commissioner to sign the contract that was contemplated at the previous CTB meeting. So the process will be the commissioner will come back at the March meeting and will make a recommendation to the CTB as to how he would like to see us to proceed.
And since we were on at 12, we got this message from the governor. Governor McDonald just passed his transportation plan. He's saying that this will solve problems like this. What do you want to say about that?
I say, first of all, thankfully we have a governor that's willing to lead and make the right decisions in a political environment, and I appreciate his efforts. And part of the program, the funding will be the monies necessary to reconstruct and get the highway in the position that it needs to be.
Because the philosophy in Richmond is we don't care about the roads because they aren't willing to make the commitments to pay for them.
Well, I won't go so far as to say that we don't care, but
because this is the first transportation plan since 1986.
Absolutely, and our legislators should be commended for doing the courageous thing and recognizing transportation as a core function of government and funding it. It supports our livelihood, our businesses. And I'm glad they put aside ideology to make this tough decision.
But when the transportation referendum failed, you know, for the 1 cent on the sales tax, which we're now putting some towards the sales tax now into that, but when it failed years ago, that was an indication of the lack of commitment that the General Assembly and the people had to fixing the roads.
Well, again, I won't comment as to what their actual thoughts were, but I will suggest to you that we had local representation here with Senator Wagner, with Delegate Chris Jones, that worked with the governor and have got something not only good for the state, but for our region And so with that, I'm very thankful what they've done their job.
Aubrey Lane, thank you so much. Our member on the Commonwealth Transportation Board. We'll have more from Aubrey Lane coming up in our 90 minutes of news. And it reminds me of the saying that many times we only care about the big bad wolf when the door is coming down.
Well, again, I'll say if you expect a lot, you better inspect a lot.
There you go. Aubrey Lane, thank you very much. That's the latest here. We'll be back in our 90 minutes of news. I'm Andy Fox, 10 on your side.